on, guys? This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a great start to your week, a great Monday. We're here to talk about some weather as usual. I can tell you over the weekend, it does not look like things really got any worse as far as trends for severe weather for this week. There is going to be unsettled weather, especially more so the western areas of the Mid-South to the Mississippi Valley and things like that. So there's going to be a threat, especially for the Arkansas, potentially Mississippi, parts of Tennessee area for severe weather. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to talk about a little bit later in the week, too, because it looks like it's going to be a stormy end of the week, potentially, for areas like the Southeast and the Carolinas specifically. So we're going to watch for an active day there. But it doesn't look like, kind of like the last two events, that things have trended like significantly worse over the weekend. That's why I didn't really do two videos in one day, because I didn't want to continuously talk about the same thing when nothing real has been really was changing, if you know what I mean. But it does look very active. There's definitely going to be severe storms. It's April. This is kind of what happens to change of the seasons. But I can tell you one thing. It's just a matter of time for something pops up again. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that, especially when it's slow for me. The growth is slow. So, when the weather's just a little bit more calmer, obviously there's not as much to talk about. But weather is ongoing. There's going to be something to talk about again. So definitely consider hitting the subscribe button and definitely join in with the growth. I got an awesome, tight-knit family here that watches my videos. So I appreciate all y'all. Thank y'all for supporting my passion. Like the video if you do like it. And let's get going here. Also, I want to say this. Definitely, if you guys got anything I can pray about, don't forget, leave it in the comments. It gives other people opportunity to pray for you too, so we can all help each other here. So let's get going here. So it's been a beautiful day, right? The temperatures hasn't been too warm. It's going to warm up even more. There's not many clouds out there in the entire U.S. It's just been a beautiful day, really. Just not a lot going on. This cutoff low is going to get going up here. It's going to circle around here, and it's going to deliver a low-level jet here. Basically promote more of a moisturized atmosphere, juiced up atmosphere, and there's going to be a chance for severe storms in this area right here. So let's talk about, so what we got, the Storm Prediction Center. I didn't really mention day 2 because I mainly focus on the eastern U.S. East. But at day 3, which is Wednesday into Thursday, especially Wednesday night, I'm definitely watching this area. It could potentially trend worse as in not as good, as in the potential for worse severe weather is what I'm saying. But it's a slight risk at day 3, so it has plenty of time over the next 48 hours to trend worse. So it could trend to an enhanced risk. I think the ceiling on this event as of now is an enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk. Right now it's at slight, but it could trend a little worse, especially here in Arkansas. And anything is up in the air right now for this area. The potential for damaging winds, an isolated tornado, and hail. It's all on the table here. So we need to watch out for this area. So what we got going on here is we'll show temperatures really quick. Check it out. Check out how warm it's been today across basically the entire country, all the way up to Canada and the U.S. border. I mean, it's all the way up to near 70. But it's going to continue, and this is just a GFS. It's going to continue. The overnight lows are going to continue to trend a little bit warmer, really for almost the entire eastern U.S. We get, I know today at my house here in Columbia, South Carolina, hit 82 degrees. Expect another day in the 80s. And here comes that cutoff low, bringing its own cold air, its own cold core as it spins over here in the Midwest and the South Central U.S. and getting into the Mississippi Valley here. So how is this going to impact really weather here? Well, it's basically going to spin around here. It's going to deliver a severe weather threat. But temperatures really in the southeast are going to remain warm. You're going to stay in the 70s and 80s. I really think if trees have not begun to bloom where you're at, they're really going to begin to bloom, especially in the Mid-Atlantic. If you're still a little bit behind as far as basically leafage. But check out South Texas, almost reaching 100 degrees as we get into Thursday. But you can look at the swirl. This is a little cutoff low, bringing its own cold air. So if you're kind of not in the area of circulation, check out all the way around it. It just looks weird. You got higher temperatures further north. It's because if you're getting influenced by this upper level low, this cutoff low, this closed low pressure, then you're not really getting its cold air that's bringing with it. It's not crazy cold air, but it's chilly conditions. So it moves through. We get into the weekend, and really, I don't, especially the southern sections of the eastern U.S. and the southeast, I really don't see us shaking. It's still April. So I remember last year in May, we had a strong cold front that came through on around Cinco de Mayo, brought in some very nasty, severe storms here in the Carolinas, and got down to the 40s in May. That's pretty rare. I think it broke a record low. So that being said, I'm saying that because we can still have colder temperatures and cold swinging temperatures. It's hard to get consistent 80s really anywhere except Florida and the southeast until you get to about mid to late April, depending on how south you are. But we go all the way through next Monday, and it stays pretty warm depending on where you are. So the system we're talking about here, as far as what's going to bring the severe weather, is check out the low pressure starting to spin over Nebraska and Kansas. Well, this gets kind of closed off here. And here it is. Here's the severe weather threat. And what I worry about here is it becomes an overnight threat. Maybe not necessarily overnight, but yeah, overnight. But in the evening when it's dark here in the Arkansas into Mississippi area, this is what the severe weather potential is going to be. You're going to have dew points in the 60s. You're going to have a decent amount of CAPE. Not a lot of low-level shear, but you got enough mid-level shear. And it's just going to be an atmosphere that's going to promote severe weather. And it gets going through here, but check out this thing just spinning here. What happens here is you get some convection, not much forcing here, but you get convection that starts to fire up as you get into Friday. And I think it's going to be the potential for a stormy afternoon and evening for Friday across the southeast. I'm talking about Carolinas, Georgia. And I think the potential there is for some hail. We'll watch that. It's going to be, I don't think we're going to have any kind of like tornado outbreak or anything like that across the southeast. I don't think we're going to have any kind of tornado outbreak anywhere in the country with this event here this week. But as we're going through here in time here, this is the NAM. So the NAM reaches this system for Arkansas and Mississippi. So we're getting into Wednesday, the wee hours of the morning. Starting to sneak into Wednesday afternoon, and check out the energy right here starting to fire up. Notice it's not really discrete cells. It could trend that way. We'll watch it, especially when we get in the HRRR model, but it's nothing like that looks super like a severe weather outbreak or anything. But we have to watch this, especially how what's the word for it? Just how converged these storms are. You have to watch out for flooding, especially if this thing starts to meander into Tennessee, this area that got 6 to 8 inches of rain overnight last week. So we have to watch out for flooding. But this is as far out as it goes, but this is the event right here. And this is getting into the overnight hours, into Wednesday into Thursday. So it might be some really nasty weather getting into northern Mississippi. Hail, the potential for isolated tornadoes is definitely on the board. And damaging winds, I think, definitely are. But you see what's going on with dew points here. Guys, I struggle with Pivotal so much. It is a little bit of an annoying sight. But you go through, you check out the dew points that are flexing northward ahead of this closed low. As we get into Wednesday, dew points are surging into the 60s as far north as Missouri briefly before more stable, more dry air moves in. But check it out. Check out the southeast and the southern U.S. You don't lose the higher dew points. Dew points get all the way up into the 70s. Really moist air into Louisiana, areas of Texas, the coastal areas. So it really gets really moist. So this tells me that that's an element for storms to fire up as you get into Friday and into the weekend. Even if they're not a super severe weather outbreak, I think you're going to keep enough juice to the atmosphere in the southern U.S. as you get into the weekend for maybe a stormy weekend across. I'm not talking, when I say stormy weekend, I'm not talking about widespread rain for your weekend coming up here in the southeast, but I do think there's going to be isolated strong to potentially severe storms around. So I have to watch that and see how that unfolds. But CAPE, you can really see how it begins to build for the events Wednesday into Thursday. There's just enough CAPE briefly right into here before that closed off low begins to really affect the weather. But check out the CAPE that builds with the dew points until you get into the Gulf states. So that tells me that there's going to be another component there for a stormy, potentially storms firing up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday across the southeast. So I actually had the day off Friday, just taking a day off, and I actually might be out in the field storm chasing a little bit, especially if we can get some isolated supercells here in the Carolinas producing some big time hail. But we'll watch this. But I want to get a little bit closer up view of the southeast here from the European here and show you what I'm talking about. As you're getting into Tuesday, Wednesday, it's going to stay dry. I think that system might throw some moisture into our area as we get into overnight Wednesday into Thursday. But then, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit too far ahead. I was talking about, here we go. So this is basically Friday. Check out these storms. It's going to be hard to check out the soundings, but I think we have to watch out. You notice it's got the hail icon. Notice the dew point turned the 50s. Lapse rates are decent. So when I see dew points lower like this with storm development, to me, when you got a little bit of a dry air in the atmosphere, at face value, that tells me there's going to be a little bit of a hail threat with these storms that get fired up if they do Friday across the Carolinas. But we'll watch to see how this unfolds. This is still a little bit up in the air, but I think it's going to be stormy potentially Friday afternoon into Saturday afternoon, and maybe even into Sunday afternoon as for our southeast and for our weekend. So we'll continue to monitor all of this. There's nothing concrete to really talk about. I think there's going to be a severe weather event for Arkansas area, but I don't think it's going to be nothing compared to the last couple weeks as far as severe weather. So thank y'all for tuning in. It's going to get busy again. But definitely enjoy the calmer weather and the spring-like weather while you can, because it's just a matter of time before we get another severe weather outbreak here in the eastern U.S. So thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a blessed evening.